Hello guys, welcome to the channel Codeboard once again, and this is Kaushik with the third tutorial video of the jQuery tutorial video series. So in this video we are going to discuss few jQuery selectors and functions along with a very simple project. So just keep watching this video till the end to know some new concept on jQuery and how you can develop a project using HTML and jQuery very easily. Okay, so before discussing about today's topic, I mean the project, let me tell you one thing that I have already created two more videos on jQuery and HTML where I discussed about the jQuery theoretical part and the basic syntax. So you could always go back to my channel and check out those videos to get a clear concept on the jQuery syntactical and theoretical part. Okay, so let me come back about today's topic. So basically we are going to create a project, and there will be a form, and the form will have very few input elements. Maybe when some user will put some value into that input elements and click the submit button, the data will be shown to a separate section of the page, and we are going to do this thing using the HTML and jQuery only. So let's start with the coding. Okay, so I have already created one HTML page, and there is the jQuery JS library already included in the page. So let's start with the form creation. As I mentioned that we are going to make an application where there will be a form and the form data will be shown to a separate section of the same page. Okay, so let's start with creating the form. Okay, so let me go there and add a form here. Let me add the ID as maybe say my form. Okay, and I'm just okay, so let me put the 4 different type of fields so that you can understand that how you can get values using jQuery from different type of form fields. Okay, so first thing, let me say name. Okay, and this is going to be a text type. Input type equals to text, and maybe the ID equals to name. Okay, now I'm going to add a line break here, and next I am coming to the point at let's say date of birth. Okay, so this is going to be a input type equals to date, right? Input type equals to date, ID equals to maybe DOB for date of birth, and finally the line break here also. Okay, so now I am coming to next field, which is going to be a radio button, that is gender. Okay, so gender, let me add 3 radio buttons here. Input type equals to radio, ID equals to male, value equals to M, and text is male, right? And the line break, not line break, let me keep here as a space only, BSP. Okay, so I am just copying this line 2 more times, and I am just doing it as female, and the value I am going to give as F, and I am going to put as others also. Okay, and this should be female, right? Okay, so I have created 3 radio buttons here for male, female and others for the gender. Okay, so this is going to be the radio button, because in radio button you can select any one from these 3. You can be male or female or others. Okay, so the ID, let me change here at others. Okay, and apart from that I am going to add, let me add first line break here once, and then I am going to add one more input type, that is checkbox. Okay, so let me go to the preferences. I mean maybe what do you like, something like that. So I am going to add some checkboxes here. Input type equals to checkbox, ID equals to let's say music, value equals to music, and the text to be shown to the user as music. Okay, and let me add one space here. Okay, so just let me copy it over 2 times, and let's ID now computer. So value I am changing as computer, and the label is also I am changing as computer. And finally let me go to the third one and let me add it at books. Okay, so books, this should be books again, and this is also going to be books. Okay, so let me add one more line break here to make it more readable in the form, and let me add a submit button here. Input type equals to submit, value equals to submit, right? And this is done. Okay, so now if I go to the browser and just you can see that our form is ready. Very simple HTML structure, nothing, no design has been added. Just for our understanding purpose, I just made a simple form. So there is an issue now. So if you go to the gender and select male, now female, you can see that you can select both of these, and if you can click on the third one also, and three are going to be selected at a time. But this is not our intention, right? Because we need any one to be selected, and this is happening because we have not given any name into this radio button. So I need to give the same name for three of these so that any one will be selected. Okay, so let me put the name as gender, and here it will be gender, and here again it will be gender, right? Similarly, I am going to add the name for the checkboxes also. So name is preps, let's say, just for the convenience to understand, and also the name I don't want to keep it as big as preferences. Okay, so that's it. Now if I go to the browser and just select this one and next this one, you can see that any one will be selected. But as the checkboxes default behavior is selecting the multiple ones, so you can select music and computer, or only computer, or three of this as per your wish. Okay, so now this is the the date input, and this is the simple input type text. Okay, so what is our purpose is that whenever user is going to click the submit button, the data whatever he has inputted into this input element, that needs to be shown into a separate section of this browser. Okay, so now if I just do the same thing, what will happen? Let's say Kaushik, and let me select any date from here and just selecting any gender, and if I just click the submit button, so you can see that the default behavior is coming here, that is the form is being submitted to a URL where the values are appending with the URL using the get parameter. Okay, so if you don't know what is this get parameter etc., so just let me tell you one thing, that whenever you are submitting some form, that is that naturally goes to an URL where that data whatever you have inputted into this particular form is being processed. Okay, but for our project purpose, it is not necessary that this data need to be sent to a server side or somewhere else to process. Rather, we want to keep it at our end, and we want to show it in a separate section of this particular page itself. Okay, so for that, what we need to do is that we need to prevent the default behavior of the submitting form. Okay, so let me go to the code and let me add some JavaScript code. Okay, okay, so there is an event in jQuery that is called submit event. So that particular event is invoked when some form is going to get submitted. Okay, so we want to catch that particular event, and then we want to prevent the default behavior of form submitting. Okay, so let's start. Let me first select the form with the ID, that is my form, and then dot submit. Okay, and this is the very basic jQuery syntax I mentioned you earlier. So one new thing you can see, that is the submit I just mentioned. So this is the event when the my form is going to get submitted, this particular event is going to be invoked and this method will be called. Okay, So in this particular method we want to prevent the default behavior of form submitting. Okay, so for that I need to take an argument inside this function that you can call event. So what is this event? So this event is basically a JavaScript object which refers the event submit. Okay, so you don't have to understand the very detail about this particular event object. So you just for now understand that this event is an object for the event which has been occurred by this form submitting in a JavaScript point of view. Okay, so this is required for us because we want to prevent the default behavior of this particular event, and there is a method in this particular event object called prevent default. If you have seen my earlier videos in my tic-tac-toe games, you could have noticed that I have already used this one earlier one or twice in JavaScript also. The same thing here is present in jQuery also, that is called prevent default. So you can do it in this way, event dot prevent default. Okay, so if you call this, then that default behavior will not be occurred, and now whatever we are going to write under this particular line, that is going to be happen in our application. Okay, so that's it. Now if we want to show this data whatever user has inputted into the input element, then we need to fetch the data from the input elements. Okay, so the first one is very simple because this is a input type text and we have already fetched the data in our last video using the val function. Okay, so let's do the same. Var name equals to dollar has name dot val, right? The second input type is date and it is exactly same as the first one. Okay, so you can just select the date input element using its id and call the val function to get the date value. Okay, so let's do it. Var dob equals to dollar has dob dot val. Okay, now the next thing is the gender. Okay, so in a single page there cannot be multiple same id element, right? Because the id in a particular page is always same. That is why if I have 3 radio buttons, even if the purpose is same to select the gender, but the elements are different, I mean 3 different radio buttons, so 3 different radio buttons cannot have same id, right? That is why we have kept 3 different id here, male, female and others. Now the question is, how will you know that which radio button has been selected? Okay, so there we need to know something, we need to grab something which is common for these 3 input elements, right? So that is, you can see the name. Okay, so we can select these 3 input elements using the name attribute. Okay, then we want to know that which one is selected. Okay, so let me show you the syntax how you can do it in jQuery. So all you have to do is that var, let's say gender equals to dollar. Now in the third bracket you have to put name equals to, in the single quote, gender. Okay, so using this particular selector you are selecting all the elements which has name gender, right? So this is basically selecting all these 3 input elements, but we don't need that, right? We need only that particular element which has been checked by the user. Okay, okay, so for that there is a syntax in the jQuery which is something like that, colon checked. Okay, so by this one you are basically selecting that particular element which has the name gender and which is being selected by the user. Okay, so now you have selected that particular element. Now you have to fetch the value of that particular element using the val function we used many a times. Okay, so that's it. If you call the val function, you are getting the gender value which is being selected by the user. Okay, so let me print it in console and let me check whether it is working or not, and you will get a better concept also. Okay, let me go to the browser, let me open the console and let me refresh the page and select, I am selecting the male, and if I click the submit you can see that the value m is appearing here. Okay, So this is working properly. If you select the female, the value F is appearing here. Okay, so by the selector I have written here the gender value is being selected. So we are already getting the gender value properly. Now coming next point, that is how you will get the values from the checkboxes. So now the difference between radio button and checkbox is you can select only one value from the radio button, but you can select multiple values from the checkboxes. So the thing is going to be a bit different. So let me show you something. So let me first select var preferences equals to $. I'm selecting in the same way I did for the gender, because I have again the 3 elements here. So I need to select it using the common one, that is name. So it should be something like this: name equals to preps colon checked. Okay. So just I'm not fetching the value, okay, because there can be multiple values. So how will you fetch the one value? You need to get the multiple values, because there can be multiple selected by the user. Okay. So let me just print the preferences. What should I get? Let me show you that. Console.log preferences. Okay. So let me go to the browser again. Let me refresh the page. Let me select the music, computer, both. Well, let me first select the music only. Okay. So you can see that in the console you are getting one array with ID music. Okay, so if I hover it, you can see that one element is being selected here. Okay, now if I select 2 and if I click submit, you can see that there are 2 elements here in the array. Now you can see that the first one is being selected. If I hover on the has music, that means the ID with music, and now if I go to the input element with ID computer, the next one is being selected. So if you go to the third one and check the third one and click on the submit, you are getting the 3 elements. So by this code, basically you are selecting all the elements which has been checked, right? And you are getting an array of those elements. Okay, now I need to run a loop over the preferences array to fetch each element, and then I need to take the value from those each elements, right? To get the values from the checkboxes which are selected. Okay, so let's start. Let's first declare a blank array here. Var prefs equals to blank array. So in JavaScript we can declare a blank array in this way. So now let's start a loop. Var I equals to 0, I less than preferences dot length I plus plus. Now the value is a single value I can fetch in this way. Preferences I dot val. Okay, so what I am doing here is that I am selecting one particular element from this particular preferences array, and then as we all know that in jQuery, if we want to select any particular element, we need to keep that inside a first bracket followed by this $, and that is what exactly I am doing. I am selecting one particular element from this particular preferences array, and then I am calling the val function on that particular element to fetch the value from that HTML element, right? So I am getting the value now. Now what I want to do is that I need to push this particular value inside this blank array. Okay, so for that I can do it in this way: prefs.push val. Okay, so that's it. And let me just print it in console.log prep. So I am printing the value inside the console. I will show you in console how does it print, but before that let me tell you one more thing, that I am getting an array of the values, right? But it will be better for us if we could get one string instead of an array, so that we could show it in a better way in a separate section of our HTML page, right? And how can we do that? So there is a function in JavaScript. The function name is join. So it helps us to get a string out of an array. Okay, so let me show you how we can do it. So var prep string equals to prep dot join, and then I need to put a separator here, that is comma. So what will it do? It will basically concatenate the array elements with separator comma. Okay, so let me print this one also to show you. Console.log prep string. Okay, so let me go to the browser and I'm refreshing the page. Let me select the music, and if I submit, so you can see that this one is the array I am getting in the preps, and this one is the prep string which I am getting the string from this array. Now if I select 2, then you can see that I am getting 2 values here in the array, and then in the string it is being concatenated with a comma. Okay, so that's the matter. So now I have already received all the values from the form. Now I need to show it in a separate section. Okay, so let me erase the console log statements, and to show it we will use a table here. Okay, so let me add a table here. Table id equals to, let's say, data, and inside the table let me add t head here, and inside t head I am going to add 4 headers for 4 of our elements: th, name, and 4 elements here, date of birth, now gender, and finally preferences, right? And in below the t head I am using t body, and t body here, so all I need to do is that I need to generate some HTML string dynamically from this value, and then I need to set that HTML string inside the t body, right? So let me add a id here also. So data body, let's say, so that I can select it and set my values. Okay, so let me add a very quick styling for this table so that it does look good in our page. So let me add a style tag here. And has data with 100%. Now margin auto, margin top, let's say 20 pixel. That's now let me add styling for the th, data th. So I am going to add styling for the th which is under the parent element data. So let me do it background black, color white, text align center, border 1px solid, let's say solid white, right? Solid white, right? Okay, and let me add few styling for the td also, so which I am going to generate dynamically. Okay, so border 1px solid black. Okay, now I need to add the cell spacing and cell padding attributes here. Cell spacing equals to 0. So I could keep it as it is. I don't want to add cell padding for now. Okay, so now I need to generate the HTML dynamically here. So let me declare a variable where HTML equals to blank initially. Then I need to append values with this HTML string, plus equals to, I need to start a row here tr, and inside this row I need to add the dynamic columns here. So those are td, then the value. So first value is name, right? So I am appending the name variable which is declared here. I am appending with this string here, and now td is ending. and the second is dob, right? This is the dob variable. Now third one is gender, and the fourth one is prep string, right? So all our columns are filled up now. Now finally html, I need to close the row tr tag here actually. So our HTML dynamic string is ready now. Now I need to set this HTML string inside this t body, right? So in JavaScript, what we would do, document.getElement by id, the id name which is data body. So what we would do, like document.getElement by id data body dot inner HTML equals to HTML, okay? But in jQuery it's much smaller syntax. It should be like $has data body. By this I am selecting the t body and then dot HTML, and inside the HTML function you need to pass this particular dynamic HTML string, okay? So let's do it. $has data body dot HTML. So okay, so I am passing the HTML dynamic string as a argument for inside this particular HTML function, and which helps us to set this dynamic HTML inside this t body, okay? So let me go to the browser now, and let me close first the console. We don't need it right now. So that's it. You can see that our table is ready now, but there is no data in the table. So initially it is blank. So let me add some data here, Kaushik, and then let me say any date here, today's date. I am 0 years age, okay? So it's male, and my preferences is music and computer, let's say. And if I submit it, you can see that the value is being populated in the table, okay? But let me change something else, another data, Vikas maybe, and let me change the date. He is 1 day elder than me, and he loves book also. So now you can see that the Vikas is being populated, but my data has gone, right? Why is that? Because if you go to the code, you can see that the HTML which is being set initially in this particular t body tag, that is being overridden when I am submitting next time, right? But is this exactly you need? Not, right? Because you need that whenever I will add some data, the data should be appended with the previous one, right? And for that there is a separate function in jQuery. So function name is quite relevant, that is called append. So it will help us, rather overriding the old HTML, it will append the new content with the old one, okay? So let me go to the browser and try again. Let me refresh the page. Kaushik, any date, mail, I love computer, and you can see the first record is here. Now let me change it again to Vikas, and then let me change the date, and he is also male again, and he loves book also. So now you can see that instead of overriding the old data, the new data is being appended with this table, okay? So let me add another one, let's say Rani, okay? So I don't know who she is, so and she is yet to be born, okay? And she is definitely female, and I know she will love music. And if I submit it, then you know the next data is being appended here. Now her gender is female and everything is coming as it is. So basically in today's video we have already seen that how you can get values from various type of inputs like date, you know, the radio button, checkbox, etc., and how you can set dynamically HTML in any particular existing HTML tag, and also how you can append new HTML with the existing HTML string which is present already, okay? So that's it for today's video. We'll continue from this point in my next video to add some new feature with this particular application along with some new jQuery concepts, okay? So if you enjoy this video, please like this video, and if you are new in this channel, please subscribe my channel, because that helps me to get motivated to create new contents for all of you. So thanks for watching.